Mushroom that can make you see miniature people. Is this just a shared hallucination, or can there be something in the brain that can actually cause this? So today I, Dr. Suave, a drug scientist, am going to explain to you the weird news story about these specific mushrooms. So Southwest China is kind of like the golden spot for mushrooms. Like there are so many different varieties that only exist there, including some that can kill you and also some that can make you just see small people. So Lanmeoa asiatica. And this is a species of mushroom that has only kind of been recently discovered. Like this version of mushroom is particularly weird. So first, if you touch it, so if like you scrape it just a little bit, it will turn blue, which is not actually that strange for other types of mushrooms. So it's not a distinguishing feature. So you can't just be like, well, that one will turn blue if I touch it, because there's tons of mushrooms that do that, some of which are delicious and some of which can also kill you. This is like a running theme of mushrooms. So like one of them might make you larger and then one might make you small. And like, I mean it literally in this sense. So the defining feature of the Lanmeo asiatica is that it basically just makes you hallucinate that there are miniature people around you. When I say miniature people, I mean like miniature people that are typically in some sort of costume and they are just interacting with the world around you. So it's not like they're interacting with you. They're just kind of like climbing on chairs and like kind of going around the table, like dancing with each other. And they obey gravity, but they just kind of exist around you. And with this mushroom, we're talking about like over 90% of people have hallucinations. And the defining part of the hallucinations is that they're these little creatures. So people will actually like eat this mushroom. Like you can find it as one of the ingredients in like hot pot restaurants. So there is a researcher who went to this hot pot restaurant. And they're like, hey, nope, we have a timer for you. So we're going to set this timer for 15 minutes. And if you eat it before it goes off, you will see the little people. But if you eat it after the 15 minutes, then you'll be okay. You won't see those hallucinations. And yeah, that is weirdly true. So what happens is you eat this mushroom and then like about 12 hours later, you start feeling real sick. So you have nausea, you have vomiting, you have diarrhea, you have all those GI problems. And then around the same time, if not 12 hours later, you start seeing little people. So like the timing of the effects are very strange for mushrooms. Usually we see effects much faster than that. Although you have things like the death cap mushroom where you just kind of feel good for a while and then you just die. Like people are typically hospitalized for this for 3 days or so. Like there's just so many things that are weird about this mushroom. So blue thing, plus lasts for a very long time in comparison to other mushrooms, plus the tiny people. Now the tiny people are also fascinating in that they typically don't go away when you close your eyes. So you will have these hallucinations for days, and even when you close your eyes, you're gonna still see the dancing little people. So you might be asking yourself, okay, but what is causing the very specifically small people in these hallucinations? First, Lilliputian hallucinations, that's what these are called, named after the Lilliputian characters in Gulliver's Travels, the very small characters. Those are not unheard of. So there are quite a few other disorders that might lead to things like Lilliputian hallucinations. Another great band name, by the way. They've been reported after all sorts of things. So they've been reported after people consuming drugs. So trying things like cough syrup at way too high of doses, because that's a hallucinogen. All other hallucinogens have seemingly caused this. And also we see that Topamax might cause this in some people too. That one's weird, but it showed up in the literature. So like anti-seizure medications might cause a troop of small people kind of doing weird things around you. We also see these in things like alcohol addiction as well with schizophrenia. And then you have the reverse of that. So the Brobdingnagian hallucination. So the giants in the Gulliver's Travels. There are also hallucinations of people becoming too large. So when I read this, I was like, okay, but this sounds a lot like Alice in Wonderland syndrome. So Alice in Wonderland syndrome is basically a disorder that occurs most frequently with people who have migraines, but it also occurs if you have like swelling of your brain or any other sort of like poisonings as well. So here we have yet another literary reference that relates to some sort of neurological disorder. But in this case, what you're seeing is you're basically seeing like drastically different sizes. Alice in Wonderland syndrome can actually be a symptom of some more problematic things. So like I mentioned, brain swelling can actually trigger this. Now, we might have an idea about how this works in our brain, and it seems to be linked to the visual system. Now, I don't actually enjoy teaching about the visual system because it's overly complex, but it does do some incredibly fascinating things. There's another syndrome with the genuinely ridiculous name of prosopometamorphopsia, which basically just makes human faces show up as different types of animal faces. Vision is the sense that humans rely on the most. And so it becomes very specialized for specific things. Like this neuron shows this orientation of this particular line. This part of the brain allows you to actually see in color. And if you destroy it, then you can see everything in grayscale. And so it seems like there might be an area that specifically deals with like sizes and size differences. What might be happening with this mushroom is that you basically take it and that is changing some sort of activation in your visual system that makes you start to see things in different sizes. And specifically, it produces a visual hallucination of little tiny humans. We don't know what type of hallucinogen is in this mushroom. It does not seem to be LSD. They sent it off to Albert Hoffman and he's like, nope, not a compound of interest to me. It does not seem to be psilocybin. We are not entirely sure what it is. And I'm guessing there are a lot of people out there who'd be like, oh yeah, what is that? Because I want to know, just for science purposes only, of course. And people are trying to look at it to see if it might have a therapeutic effect. Now, what therapeutic effect there might be, I have no idea. If anyone can explain to me how Lilliputian hallucinations could help somebody in a therapeutic setting, I would love to hear it. But there are also some other interesting questions that are not based on how we can translate it to human use. So, for example, it seems like there are multiple types of mushrooms that have kind of like evolved at the same time but separately to produce these types of hallucinations. So there's like one in China, and then they found another one for sure in the Philippines, and then there appears to be a third one in Papua New Guinea, but they haven't actually tracked this one down completely. If this hallucination was some sort of like societal effect, like everyone knew that they were going to experience this and this was like a common tale, and so people kind of had that hallucination because they were expecting to see it, it wouldn't necessarily explain why there are like 3 different types of mushrooms in various countries that all produce the same hallucination. This suggests that there's some sort of like benefit in the fungi kingdom to be able to produce this very strange hallucination in people. Or maybe it could be just like a weird byproduct, because we see that a lot of the time too. But that's all we got right now. So there's this weird mushroom that makes people see miniature people that appears to have evolved in various places around the world, but what drug is in it, we don't know. As a reminder, y'all, don't mess around with mushrooms.